Hi, Jason. Hi, Erica. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi Anna, hi Jason.
Hello. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Great. So, hi, everyone. I'm Anna from GreenGeeks, and thank you for joining us today for our webinar, Selling on Autopilot, Evergreen Email, by our guest speaker, Jason Resnick. I will introduce you, Jason, in a minute, but we're so happy to have you here today. Very happy.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
I want to say a couple of things about GreenGeeks for those of you who are watching and who are not familiar with us. We're a 300% green energy web hosting provider, which essentially means we put back 3 times the power we consume into the grid in the form of renewable energy. And we offer share hosting, reseller hosting, VPS, and dedicated servers. Now, moving on to the webinar, I just have a couple of housekeeping items. If you can go ahead and put your question in the Q&A for Jason to answer, and also you can chat in the chat room, and we're monitoring it. And make sure you select everyone if you want everyone to see what you are asking or discussing. And we're recording this as always, so if you have to get away or leave us, I hope you don't. We will send you the recording in a couple of days. We also have enabled transcription, live transcription for this webinar. So you have the ability to enable the transcription during the webinar if you want by going to live transcript and show subtitles. And I want to introduce first our team, Erica Barboza, who is assisting with the chat and Q&A today. And Erica, do you want to say hi?
Hi Anna, hi Jason again, and hi everyone. My name is Erica Barboza. I am from Costa Rica. I am computer engineer and I work in the partners team. Today I'm going to be in the chat, reading your comments and sharing some information. And I hope you enjoy today with Jason and thank you for being here.
Thanks, Erica. Thank you for being here too. And now I'm going to welcome Jason. Just a few words. Jason is a marketing automation expert. He's the founder of NurtureKit, and he's a recovering web developer. I love that. Jason helps course creators, digital product creators, and coaches double revenue from their email list in 90 days without using email as a blunt tool to broadcast to everyone. And by having a clear path for a subscriber to become a customer, they, as the business owner, can build a business designed around the life they want to live. So, Jason, welcome. Would you like to say hi and start the presentation?
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Anna and Erica, for having me here. I love what Green Geeks is all about, but putting back into our planet. So I can certainly get behind that. So I appreciate what you guys are doing. Yeah, as Anna mentioned, I am the founder of NurtureKit, and the middle of the funnel is where business sustainability is. And so I wanted to bring forth a talk today really on the middle of the funnel and selling on autopilot because to be quite frank, this is the core of anybody's business. And so if we can make that as systemized and as optimized as possible, it becomes effective and efficient for our business. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let me see. And we can get going. Should be able to see my screen now.
We see it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. So, selling on autopilot, that's what we're going to talk a little bit today about. Now, you're in the right place here if you write emails regularly. Now, look, regularly means a lot of different things for some people. Sometimes for me, it means 6 times a week. For others, it means once a week, once a month, whatever that case may be. But if you're sending emails on a regular basis, but not sure of how to really sell without being salesy and kind of spammy, this is going to be perfect for you. If you want to make some money, right, between launches, So for a lot of businesses, we don't run SaaS companies, right? We don't run software products where, we get a lot of residual income every single month. Sometimes for client services like mine, like many of yours, there's this up and down kind of thing that happens. Well, this is designed for you being able to flatline and bring up those valleys, right? If you're also wondering how you could pitch products on Autopilot. So for client services, for me, what I've done is sell templates and processes and videos and things of that nature to people that really aren't ready to buy yet. And so this allows you to do that virtually on Autopilot. And if you don't even check all of those boxes and you're really just starting out and you want to know how to sell in the middle of the funnel, well, you're going to get a lot of inspiration here. And I hope you walk away today with actions that you can actually take. So that's the agenda today. What we're going to talk about is this salesperson campaign. I'm going to talk a little bit in depth at a high level, if that makes any sort of sense. Two specific automations that you're going to need to do this. And then I'm going to show you how you can do this without changing much of what you do today once this is all set up. So who am I? I'm Jason Resnick, founder of NurtureKit. But first and foremost, I'm a husband and a proud dad of two young boys. So I can't, they are outside right now. So you may hear a scream or two. So who knows, right? I'm a podcaster, I'm a web developer, but right now I am an automation expert since about 2016. I grew up as a web developer, definitely have that developer mindset, and I started my client business and my company in 2010. That first half of my career in my own business was all web development. And then I shifted more towards email marketing and automation in 2016. I am a proud New Yorker, so really what that means is I'm going to talk fast in some spots, but feel free to slow me down, drop into the chat, ask any questions that you have. No questions is a stupid question. There's no judgment here. Email marketing automation is very complex. So I'm going to leave plenty of time at the end for a lot of Q&A. And as Anna mentioned, I help creators and online businesses, really their owners, build businesses designed around the life that they want to live, because that's why I started my business in the first place. I wanted to be able to be home with family, see those first steps and hear those first words of my kids. And that was my goal even before I was even remotely had a family. So that's what I want to do for my clients. And I have this phrase that says, when you treat your email lists like humans, amazing transformations happen. And there is no such thing as a tiny list. And I'm going to show you here, these are two client examples of mine, one of which is Ian, where him and his business partner teach guitar. And they teach guitar to professional guitarists all the way down to the hobbyists, right? Where they're just kind of playing around in their basement. They might want to play on their church, whatever the case may be. And they sell these splinter products and then a membership behind it. Well, they were dialed in Facebook ads and they were getting about a 4% take on their products, but they weren't doing anything with the list. And what we're going to specifically talk about today is what we built out for Ian and Jeffrey specifically, because 4 or 5% of the people were buying from them right off the bat. But then what is the other 95 doing? Well, they're sitting waiting in the wings. So I'm going to show you exactly what we did today that bumped their 4% up to 15% within 30 days of someone that came onto their list. And Adrienne on the other side, well, she had a membership that opens and closes. So we're talking about those launches again, right? Those peaks and valleys that happen. Well, what she wanted to do was create that wait list. And when the membership opened, and she opened it basically 4 to 5 times a year, and when she opened the membership, she wanted to have that campaign, that hype, that big wow factor. And what we wound up doing was increasing her conversions from the wait list to being a membership, to being a member in her membership. So without further ado, why don't we dive in here? I love this quote. It's from Leonardo da Vinci. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And when you boil email marketing and automation down to its simplest form, it can do powerful things. In this case, what we're going to talk about is a salesperson campaign. Now, let's break up those two terms for a second because I can almost hear it already, right? Salesperson. Ugh, nobody likes salespeople, right? So first, let's address a campaign. What is it? It's a sequence of emails to reach multiple subscribers, right? That's really what it boils down to. And it's a marketing effort designed to generate revenue, right? Now, you might have campaigns that go out for lead magnets and things of that nature. Yes, that drives value, but a campaign overall is specifically designed to drive revenue for the business. It has a very specific goal in mind, right? So you can have a launch campaign, you can have an upsell campaign, you can have a downsell campaign, all of these kind of things. And ultimately, it's really on autopilot, right? So that's what a campaign is. Now, a salesperson, like you are probably thinking right now, I thought the same thing. Like nobody likes a salesperson. The worst thing that happens is you go into a store and you can like sense them in the corner. They see you and they're like, okay, they're just waiting in the wings and then they're going to come over to you. And you're just like, just leave me alone for 5 minutes, right? But what a salesperson actually is they sell products and services in a helpful way to customers, right? I saw this definition a couple of years ago that really changed my perspective on a salesperson. And it really what their job is, their job description is being the ambassador of their company to the outside world, right? So if you take it from that perspective, yeah, they're just really just trying to help the outside world understand what their company can do for them, right? The idea of that, right, where that helpful salesperson just walks up to you, and if you're looking at a product, let's just say a TV on the wall, they come up to you. There's a lot of things on that price card or that brochure that don't apply to you or you may not know how to apply it to your situation. This salesperson bridges that gap, right? They have good salespeople have good human relationship skills, and that skill set that they have bridges the gap and makes you comfortable with the buying decision that you make, whether that's a yes or a no. So when you combine the two together, a salesperson campaign is a, a sequence of emails that acts as that bridge, right? It acts as that human relationship between you as the company and your subscribers to be the salesperson and give them more information, right? It's designed to answer any objections. It's designed to dispel any myths, and it's designed to help show them that there are other people just like them who has become customers and got results. Ultimately, this salesperson campaign is designed really to make it easy for them to buy. Now, we'll dive into the nitty-gritties in a little bit, but what you're seeing up here is a salesperson campaign. And to be quite frank, this is a middle of the funnel campaign. And this particular campaign doesn't go out until about, I would say, 5 or 6 months after that subscriber came onto the list. You can see the open rates, you can see the click rates, right? And you can see the sends. It's not overwhelming. There's not tens of thousands of people that have gone through this, 500 or so. And yet this is a sales campaign, and yet open rates really didn't decline that much. Click rates ultimately didn't decline while it comes down towards the end, but the first two, and I would say even the third, are the highest converting emails off of this. So people start to trickle off towards the end, which you can actually see from the numbers of sends. So we'll get into this in a little bit, but The benefits of a salesperson campaign is it gives you a chance to personalize the emails, right? So as I said, that doesn't happen until about 5 months or 6 months in. And over time, we start to segment those individuals. What is their role in a company? Who are they as a person? Why are they on the list in the first place? And you can use those data points in those emails. It also is designed to build trust, right? You'll stand out from the crowd with these kind of campaigns because people will reply and say, hey, this is fantastic. I have a couple of questions, and ask away, right? Because you're opening the door, you're opening that line of communication with them. It's ultimately really to maximize revenue opportunities because the only people that get these are people that are interested in what you have to sell. So you're not actually sending it out to your entire list. The people that get this email will actually signal to you that they want these emails. And like I said, once it's set up, it's on autopilot, right? So you don't even have to think about it. Now, the salesperson campaign is a purchase-based interest campaign. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's a fancy email marketing term for hand raising, right? It's essentially you have visited a sales page, a piece of content multiple times and haven't made that purchase. Something is stopping that individual. Now, it could be a question in their mind. It could be, a belief that they have about themselves that this isn't a good fit for them. Whatever the case may be, they haven't taken an action to buy, but they have sent signals that they are very interested in what you have to sell. See, consumers buy on emotion, but justify with logic. And what I mean by that is when you are reading an email in your inbox, that's kind of like a personal space, right? Like it might have some branding to it, but ultimately it's either on your phone or on your desktop, and it's your time, your space, your head space is there. And when you read the right words, your emotions kick in, right? But then when you click that link and you go to that buy now page or buy now button, all of a sudden the branding changes a little bit. Now you're in their world. So your brain psychologically starts to say, do I really need this? Right? Because now your frame of reference has changed. Okay. So ultimately this, the sale itself is made with a handshake, right? It's marrying the emotion and the logic together in a way that makes sense for that person to actually go forward with the sale. Now, the subscriber expressed interest, as I said, and they do that by clicking on a link in an email, right? And this is where we're going to dive in a little bit later on how you're really not changing anything if you're sending emails regularly. But what you want to do is you want to track those clicks. So if you mention a product of yours or you mention a service of yours, you mention a call booking link, something like that, you want to track that through what's called a trigger link or a link trigger, depending on your email software semantics. And what you then do is kick in an automation that basically tracks whether or not this person buys, right? Ultimately, the salesperson campaign goes off on if they haven't bought over a certain period of time, right? So you could think like a cart abandonment that you have for like Amazon or a direct to consumer product, but this is more intentional, right? It's more personal because again, we're trying to create that handshake. You want to make them feel that they're comfortable enough to move forward with their decision. Now, some of the best practices for this are you want to write it conversationally, right? It should be like a salesperson, right? So if I'm buying a TV and I'm looking at 100-inch TVs, but it looks great to me, the salesperson asks, what room is this going in? And I have a studio apartment. Well, we're going to have a much different conversation than if I have a media room in my 5-bedroom house, right? So you want to make sure that this is written in a way that is conversational. Being straightforward and not creepy about it is the best thing that you can do. And what I mean by this, it's plain and simple. that first email that goes out, and I've tested this with my own business as well as clients' businesses, by having this in or not, and having it in performs better. Basically is the first sentence of that first email that goes out and says, hey, I noticed you checked out product X. My system tells me that you've checked this out, and I want to make sure that all of your questions are answered. So you're really just calling it out, plain and simply, because they know that they've checked out your product. They know that you've checked out their services, right? If you somehow show up inside of their inbox, calling attention to it, it's sort of like that Amazon or Facebook ad that you see, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, I was just talking to my wife about salmon for dinner last night. Why is there a salmon recipe on my Amazon Alexa device right now, right? It seems kind of creepy. So you want to make it a singular call to action as well in these emails, strictly to that buy now button. You are going to show and express authority and expertise and testimonials, right? I know I put or here, and the or is only because you don't want to overwhelm them in each of these emails. Break down each of these three things in the various different emails. You're not going to show a testimonial in every single email. You're not going to show your authority and expertise in every email, but you want to make them feel comfortable. And if you can show other objections of customers and align them in the emails, that is super powerful, because then if they have the same objections that your customers have, well, the answer is right there. And again, the length of it really depends on your audience, but I would say between 2 and 6 emails. To start off, I would base it on the price, right? So if it's a $100 product, don't go crazy with 6 emails. 2 or 3 is fine, right? But if it's a high ticket item, or it's a booking a call with you, well, then you might want 5 or 6 emails. Now, the best part about all of this is you can have that set up, right? And I'm going to show you in a little bit exactly how to set this up, or where you can get exactly how to get this set up. But once it's done, it's just sitting there. It's waiting for you. It's waiting for those clicks to happen. And you could keep going about your business the way that you want to go about your business. And what I mean by that is if you are emailing regularly, right? You're doing that hard part. You're putting out content. You're sharing links. You're being a little bit more mindful of the past that your subscriber has, and you're creating those relationships already. The only difference now is when you create that content, to think about and be more intentional about the links that you're sharing. Is this a piece of content that directly relates to my product or service? Do I want to just, if I'm mentioning my service or product, just hyperlink it to the sales page, right? So you're just being a little bit more thoughtful. You're going to do the things that you normally do, and this works for newsletters, this works for story-based emails. Just being a little bit more aware around the fact that you have this salesperson campaign waiting in the wings. The other thing, which I didn't put into this slide here, is that once you have one salesperson campaign, you have it per product or per service, right? So you would set it up for one, and then you could set it up for your next, and you can have an army of salespeople, right? Just waiting there, right? For each individual product. Now, this is a quote from Hannibal Smith and many, many other people from the A-team, but I love it when a plan comes together, because this is natural for your subscribers, right? Because the individual sequence does not go out until they have clicked on links to express the interest, right? So on any given day, you can have people falling into this, right? Because you've defined a certain threshold, 3 times in 30 days, 5 times in 60 days, whatever your comfort level is. You could track those links to say, hey, if this person clicks 3 times in 30 days and hasn't bought, I want this salesperson campaign to go out, right? So on any given day, this is making sales for you. And as I mentioned, even the best of the best that have tuned, optimized ads and products on the top of the funnel have 90+% of people not buying, right? And so what they do then is fall into the middle, and this sits here waiting for you. So the sustainability of your business is built in the middle of the funnel. I'm going to say that again. The sustainability of your business is built into the middle of the funnel, right? And if you can capitalize on those revenue generating opportunities in the middle of the funnel, that's when your business is going to be stable. That's when you're going to avoid the feast or famine cycle as a client services provider. That's when you're going to pull up those valleys in between your product and membership launches, that even if you wanted to just evergreen a product and not even worry and stress yourself about launches, which I've had some clients do as a result of this, do that, right? Fit the business around the kind of life that you want to live. And what this also does is it allows you to stay on track with your content, right? Because you know that the salesperson campaign is waiting in the wings, waiting for people to come into it. You can kind of think about like, okay, this call to action makes total sense because I know what that first email in the salesperson campaign is. And if there happens to be people on the fence for that click, if they click on this, it's going to make total sense for them on the end, right? So start to stay on track with the kinds of content that you're sharing. Now, as I said, you don't have to change anything that you're doing today other than being mindful of those links. But if you want to, write more, but stay consistent, right? This was really the power for me and the motivation for me to switch to daily emails, for lack of a better term. I email 6 times a week. I take off on Sunday. Again, it's being intentional about your content and thinking about, hey, if this podcast, this video, this article is directly correlated and is a direct revenue driver for people to come into my business, as well as those sales pages, then throw more links into your emails about that kind of content. It also allows you to test a lot of different things, right? So if you do have, new products coming out, or you want to learn kind of like, hey, does my subscribers respond better to buttons or plain text links or images or something of that nature? You can mix this up in your salesperson campaign and allow that to split test, right? Because, hey, if more people are clicking on buttons in one of the salesperson campaigns, maybe I should start using buttons more on the front end, right? And that's where you start to then say, hey, I can adapt what I'm learning from this evergreen thing that I have running in the background for my products and for my promotions and launches, right? Because a lot of clients that I deal with, those launches, they may do 3 to 5 of them a year, and that's their revenue for the year. So they can't really tweak things too much because they want to make sure that they're increasing every launch. And if they test and it completely bombs, well, that's it. Their revenue is going to be way thrown off. So this salesperson campaign allows you to test these things on an ongoing basis without affecting your revenue all that much. One thing that I've tested over the past 6-ish months, probably I guess 7 now that it's July, is sharing how I content, not as much as how to content, right? And this is, and I say this with respect to, yes, the content is going to be focused on the individual, the subscriber, but sharing what you did and how you've done it and your process, rather than pointing the finger and saying, this is what you should be doing, or this is how you need to do it, right? Share, this is what I've done before that's worked well for me, or, kind of putting it inward on you, but kind of showing them rather than telling them how to do something. And personalization, I'm huge on that. And I could talk a whole nother talk on it, but personalized CTAs convert at 202% better than just a plain CTA. What I mean by that, and this is a HubSpot did a study to prove this. If a button says join the community today versus join a community of web developers today, what do you think is going to convert more, right? Obviously, the one that mentions web developers, right? Because it's personalized to that individual, right? So if you have a list that's a mix of varying different businesses or different role types or something like that, think about, hey, what can I ask them that really identifies with them? And then use those in these campaigns. So we covered a ton, and I'm hoping that there's questions because I love a lot of Q&A, but I'm here to help you. And what we talked about today was the salesperson campaign and how not to be creepy, but yet once it's set up, it is essentially there or just waiting in the wings for you. And we talked about the two automations, the tracking of the clicks and the timing mechanism to make sure that they didn't buy during that time to trigger off the salesperson campaign. And look, you don't have to change anything other than being mindful of the links that you're sharing and making sure that those are flagged as trigger links. And that's it. And if you want to go ahead, and if you are a ConvertKit user or not, it doesn't really matter. If you are, even better. But you could go to nurturekit.co/GreenGeeks, and I share my ConvertKit visual automations and a template for that salesperson sequence straight from there. And you can pull that automatically into your ConvertKit account and run with it as is, tweak it. You can feel free to ask me any questions. I'm at Rez on Twitter. I'm always open to a conversation. But even if you're not a ConvertKit user, I have that sequence and the template for each of those individual emails as a downloadable PDF, which you can go ahead and download from there as well. So again, that's nurturekit.co/GreenGeeks. And yeah, let's open the floor for any sort of questions that we have.
Thank you, Jason. Just my question. So it doesn't matter what email marketing platform they're using? Do you have anyone you particularly like?
Yeah, I mean, I prefer ConvertKit. That's what I am using today. But this doesn't, I mean, I've used everything from MailChimp to Constant Contact to Drip, ActiveCampaign, and ConvertKit. I pretty much used them all. But I recommend for most people ConvertKit because that is the most flexible, and it allows you to grow, right? So you could start off, even if you're not doing any email marketing right now, they have a free plan. You can start there, start collecting those subscribers and start sending emails. And then when you're ready to scale this up and build out some complex automations and things of that nature, it'll grow with you. But what I spoke about today, I've built on MailChimp, I've built on ConvertKit, I built on Drip, ActiveCampaign. It doesn't matter. The philosophy and the method there works on just about every platform out there.
Right. Thank you. That's what I was thinking. And then I see a question is more request to post the link to nurturekit.co/GreenGeeks, which we did. So, does anybody have any question? Oh, okay. I don't see any other questions.
I think I'll just click the unshare.
That's good. Well, thank you so much, Jason. That was really interesting. So if someone wants to contact you, the best way to contact you is your Twitter, or what's the best way to get in touch with you?
You can go to nurturekit.co and you'll find various different arrays of way to get a hold of me through there, or go to Rez, which is RE3Zs on Twitter, and my DMs are open, and I'm happy to have a conversation through there as well.
Great, thank you. Well, if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. I'm posting here the link for our future webinars. I don't know if you have it. It's greengeeks.com/webinars. We have one every month on different subjects. So follow us, go check it out, and we'll send an email with the recording of this presentation probably in a few days. So, but thank you so much. Thank you, Erica, for being here.
Very good. Anna, I think there is
Yeah.
another question.
Yes, there is a question. Great.
Yes.
From Maria. How do you start with this existing clients? That's a great question.
Yeah, so the best approach is to let that client, if you're emailing them already, just build out the salesperson campaign in and of itself, and it should take care of itself, right? If you have existing subscribers, like, I mean, I set this up for a client the other day, actually, I think it was Monday, and he had a pretty extensive list. I would say about 75, 78,000 people on the list. And he was like, how do I get everybody into this thing? Well, I said, just keep going with your newsletters because that's what it's designed to do, right? Keep doing what you're doing already and they're going to click on it. And within a month, you're going to have people flowing through there. In his case, he emailed weekly, but that's what I told him. I said, within a month, you're going to have people flowing into this because they're going to hit the threshold because you have an engaged list. So build it. And that's the beauty part of this is that it's just sitting there waiting for it, right? You don't have to take action to dump anybody into it. Sure, you can. I mean, to be honest with you, I wrote up the emails for the campaign and sent them out as broadcasts to my list as a sales campaign, just to see if it resonated with people. Make sure that the links work. Make sure that the personalization worked, right? And that's a little pro tip from an email marketer is like, I don't build sequences in a silo, in quiet. What I do is I write the emails and I send it out to the segment of the list that I think is optimal for that email and see how it performs, because that's going to give me that live data. So I would do that. Step one, come up with the emails, send that to the segment of your clients. And then if that comes back great, fantastic. Let me build out the salesperson campaign and let it sit waiting in the wings for you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, well, I don't see any other questions. No? Okay.
I would like to make a question.
Yes. Thank you.
Jason, in your experience, how long does it take to get good results with the marketing campaigns? How long, if I start, I don't know, with less clients, how long take to have good results?
Yeah, for me, a good result is putting people through this campaign and getting a 10% or 20% take on it, right? So if you could put 100 people through there and 20% buy it, for me, that's a success, because ultimately that's 20% of people that were interested in your product that didn't buy it in the first place, right?
Yes.
Because that's what this essentially is it's a nice cart abandonment campaign, right? Your sales page didn't do its job, right? Like I always look at it like, if your salesperson campaign is really successful and it's like 50, 60, 70%, and that's who's buying it, then your sales page needs to be changed, because your sales page isn't doing its job. You're sending the traffic to your sales page, but the salesperson campaign is converting and supporting that sales page for those people that don't actually purchase. So I would get your sweet spot about 10 to 20%. If it's more than that, then yeah, take what you're learning from your salesperson campaign and reflect it back on the sales page and adjust your sales page messaging, layout, whatever the case may be.
Great. Thank you. Okay, let's see. see a question here from Jaden. This might have been answered in the presentation, but how would you use this for local service companies?
Same thing, Jaden. As long as you're sending these emails to those companies, and they're on your list, right? You're not cold emailing people out with this campaign. If they're already on your list and you're emailing them regularly, same thing applies. What I would do personalize the local business is mention the cities that they're in, right? Mention maybe their competitors that they know, right? Local businesses, my wife does ads, Google AdWords for local businesses like plumbers and bug pest control companies and things of that nature, right? So they are very aware of who their competitors are in the market, right? And so if you can position your services and how you can help them make more sales in their local market versus their competitors, put that into your salesperson campaign, right? You might not put mosquito squad on, reference to mosquito squad on your sales page, but because you know that they're in Oceanside, New York or Rockville Center, New York, where Mosquito Squad it has a presence and your client is Mosquito Joe, well, you can reference that in your salesperson campaign because it's more personalized. So I would think about at that level and that granularity in your salesperson campaign when you start to personalize that.
Right. And by the way, you're not speaking fast like a New Yorker. I know you mentioned that at the beginning. I think you're speaking very nice, very good
Yes,
things.
that's true.
Okay, well, yeah, well, I don't see any more questions out here on the Q&A or in the chat, but people can reach out. If they come up with questions later, they can always reach out to you.
Absolutely.
And okay, so, well, thank you so much, Jason. Thank you so much, Erica. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. And like I said, we will send out the recording in a few days over to you so you can watch it again. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Jason. Thank you, Anna.
See you all next time.
Thank you both.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.